any longer. I just gotta tell you, anyway. Bye, bye, baby, baby, goodbye. Bye, baby, baby, bye, bye. Bye, bye, baby, don't make me cry. Bye, baby, baby, bye, bye. You're the one girl in town I'd marry. Girl, I'd marry you now if I were free. Love you, but why begin it? 'Cause there ain't any future in it. She's got me and I'm not free, so bye bye baby, baby goodbye. Bye baby, baby, bye bye. Bye bye baby, don't make me cry. Bye baby, baby, bye bye. Yes, I never know you better. Wish I knew you before I met her. Gee, how good you would be for me. Should have told you that I can't linger. There's a wedding band on my fingers. She's got me and I'm not free, so bye bye baby, baby goodbye. Baby, baby, bye bye. Bye bye baby, don't make me cry. Baby, baby, bye bye.
Guys, ready? Sorry, let me just grab the camera. Ready? Count
Are we
down.
ready?
Yes. Countdown.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Let me put him under the sign.
Put him under the Frankie Valli.
Stand under the sign so they can take pictures of you and the sign.
I'm back.
In the front. In the front.
It's emotional right now.
There you go. You can even lean against it if you choose. Come here, Frankie. There we go. Legend.
Yeah, Frankie.
About time.
About time.
Long overdue.
Long overdue. Absolutely.
Long overdue.
Nice to be back in the neighborhood, Frankie. A lot of memories.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
A lot of memories.
Patty, can you see? Ralph, let me get Patty. She was in the middle. She was in the middle. Hey.
Hey, how are you?
Frankie Valli Way. Stephen Crane Village, everybody.
I want a picture with you in their bike.
Frankie Valli Way. I don't know. Please, let. She's got a little presentation.
I'm getting out of the way. Sorry for the
Why
same.
don't you just push me right out of the way, buddy?
I know.
Frankie performed. It's his brother Bobby to play at the event. This guy's a politician here. He never misses a photo op. Never.
You know, living in Stephen Crane Village from about 6 or 7 years old was really very, very unique for me and very important. We came from living in the North Ward in a coal flat to a place I had hot water, and steam heat, and it was different. It was almost like living in New York and having Central Park right across the street. One of the great parks of New Jersey.
Much better.
I am truly honored, and I would like to thank all of you people who came here today, and all the people that put this together. This is something that I will remember for the rest of my life. Thank you so much for coming.
The ultimate Jersey boy, one more time.
Happy early birthday, Frankie.
What a great honor. We welcome you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday edition of the Wise Up Show here on the last day of April 30th, 2023. And yes, you did hear me almost slug somebody. A photographer got right in my way, pushed me right out of the way. I told him, I says, why don't you just push me right out of the way, buddy? I tell you, anything for a picture, right? So yeah, you heard right. You heard me on the video say that. He really pissed me off. But anyway, I wasn't going to cover that because I originally was going to cover that, but then I decided not to because I figured it'd be too crowded. There would be pandemonium there and a lot of security. And on my car live Thursday, if you're watching it, I decided to take a ride down there, which was only 4 blocks away from where I was doing my car live. And I saw that, it wasn't crazy. So I decided to park my car. And I got there just in time to capture that, and it was a nice event. It's long overdue. I mean, Tommy DeVito, who is one of the members of the Four Seasons, had a street named after him back in the 90s. That was like 30 years ago, 30, 40 years ago, And why didn't they name Frankie Valli a street after him before Tommy DeVito? I have no idea. But a lot of people were annoyed that it took so long. I mean, he's 88 years old. The old saying, better late than never, but still, they should have done that a long time ago. And he's an icon. He's an icon in the North Ward of Newark, where I grew up. And that's only a couple blocks away from where I live. And it was nice to see him there. And it's funny because the people that live there now, it's the hood. So the people that live there now were all wondering, like, what the hell is going on? Who is this guy? They were looking at us like we had 3 heads. So many Italians haven't gathered in that place in like over 45 years because the Stephen Crane Village in Newark was predominantly all Italian back in the day. Now it's drug addicts and drug infested, and it's a shame, because no neighborhood stays the same. But it was nice to see him come back into the neighborhood where he grew up, and have a street named after him. And then right after that, God bless him, he's 88 years old. Right after that, that night, he went out and performed. He is kind of frail though. He lost some weight, and he looked a little bit disoriented, a little bit. But I don't know. That's what I gathered. But his daughter was there with him. His daughter is the short blonde, and the tall blonde is his girlfriend. And I happen to be friends with his daughter. Her name is Tony. And I posted those videos on Facebook, and Tony, sent me a private message, and she thanked me for posting them. She took them and she, shared them. And to date, since Thursday, since I posted them, they've gotten, I think, 34,000 views. And something like, I don't know, 400 and something odd people shared that video. So it keeps circulating and growing. And there's 2 videos. The one where he pulls the sign, the covering from the sign, and the one where he talks. So there's 2 videos up there. One's got 34,000 views, and the other one's got, I think, 11,000. So it is, it's circulating. I never, thought that it would have so many views. I never even thought about that. But it was a nice occasion. It was nice to see him, come back into the neighborhood again. And, I've been a fan of his for many years. And the reason why I played Bye Bye Baby, Baby Goodbye, is because that is my one favorite song of his amongst, many of them. And I only sang one song of his, as a matter of fact. of Frankie Valli's. He's, you know, it's kind of hard for it to sing, to hit his notes the way he sung it back then, because I have a more or less a baritone voice. But it was a nice occasion. So it's nice for everybody to join me. We have an interesting, controversial topic tonight, which I'll get into in a couple of minutes. But I want to tell you something. I'll say hello to everybody in the parlor in just a moment. You know, I'm a boxing fan, and I've been following boxing for a long time. And Angel Gotti's nephew, John Gotti III, is an MMA fighter, and now he's boxing. And I got to tell you something. This kid is, from what I see, is got a great stance, a great punch, carries himself well, and he's young. And if he stays with this sport, this kid's going to go places. He really is. He's definitely going to go places.
Ready to erupt here, John Gotti III. Huge domination that had Tony by Gotti. Nice. By Gotti. And he's been varying his punch up. Body, head, jab, hook, single. He's mixing it up right now. He's fighting smart, he's fighting close, taking his time. Certainly more controlled fighter, landing more accuracy. So as good as the combinations for John Gotti are, the defense has also been good.
Alright, here we go. John Gotti III making his second appearance as a professional boxer.
Yeah, so Gotti's going to be fighting Mayweather, as you could see, on June 11th, 2023, on pay-per-view in Miami. And I tell you, if you watch that piece that they did on him, that kid has got some punch. And being an MMA fighter is even more of an advantage. I mean, he's got some stance, he's got great combinations, and he's got a great punch. So this kid is definitely going to go someplace if he sticks with it. I think he will. So you might want to. I certainly am going to catch this fight. I definitely am going to catch this fight in June, and you know, you guys may want to also. I know that Angel and his father John, of course, are very proud of him, and I would be too. But John Gotti III, a new era, and it is a new era. He's the third. It's a new era for him. It's a new era. It's a new era for the Gotti family. So Angel, if you're watching. I wish your nephew a lot of luck, and I think he'll do well. All right, so let me say hello to everybody in the parlor. I know you like my background, and it's very peaceful. I'm on an island right now, and I flew there this morning, as a matter of fact. And as you could see, I'm only kidding. I wish, right? I wish, but it is a beautiful backdrop. It really is. It's so peaceful. The moon is there. It's blowing. The trees are blowing very nicely. The water is flowing, and you know, I got a summer shirt on. You know, very apropos for the background. So let me say hello to everybody. All right, Mike F is here. Hello, Mike. Adam Weingild, Fancy Nancy, Adam. Who else? Gerard. Stephen, Gianni, how are you, Gianni? yeah, Gianni, I almost slugged that guy. I'm funny that I got that on video, you know, me saying that. I didn't even realize. Don is here. Don, how are you, Don? Who else is here with us? Let's see. Bella Rose, how are you? The beautiful Bella Rose is here. Hi, Bella, how are you? Arms is here. Just running right down the chat here real quickly. Fancy Nancy. I did quit. I did shut down Facebook, Nancy. I opened it up to release that video, and I closed it back down again. Yeah, unfortunately, Gina's here. Hello, Gina. How are you? Glad you could make it. I hope the pup is doing well. Carol, how are you? Anthony Weingill's here. Good show this afternoon, Anthony. Good time. Perfect weather for that show. I know Patricia had asked you, where are you getting all those, those smallest things in the world? You must have hundreds of them. Who else is here? That Phil LeBlanc, how are you, Phil? Thank you for joining me. I'm almost done. Diane, how are you, Diane? God, Diane, it's been a long time since you've dropped by, but it's nice to have you. Spencer, how are you? Okay, I think I said hello to everybody. Yeah, so tonight's topic is a little bit controversial. I put something in the beginning of the show that everybody has difference of opinions, different views, different beliefs. You know, we may agree with one another. We may not agree with one another, but, you know, to be respectful, which I don't think, you know, have a problem with. Something came to mind why I picked this topic, not just because it's controversial, because it's something that happened to me, which I will tell you about a long time ago. Yeah, so let's just go over now to that right now. Torn Between Two Lovers was a song that came out in 1976. I don't remember the artist. I think it was Mary McGregor. I'm not sure. But it was a song about a woman who fell in love with two men at the same time. And some of the lyrics are, torn between two lovers, acting like a fool, torn between two lovers, breaking all the rules. Is it, or was it, breaking all the rules? Is it possible for a person to love two people at the same time? Yes, most definitely it is. Does it run into problems? Yes, it a lot of times does. It's a tough situation, you know, when you have threesomes and you have swingers and you have swing. Now, I'll tell you something that happened to me a while ago when I was in college. I almost had a swinging experience. What happened was I was going to college at the time, and I was taking psychology, and my psychology teacher, professor, was a woman. She was 26 at the time. Blonde hair, blue eyes, beautiful, great body. And I could tell that there was some kind of an attraction there. Now, at the time, I was married, okay? And I loved my wife, and I was married. And I was only married a couple of years at that time. And we would talk after class, and, you know, we got into some heavy conversations, and I could see that she was hitting on me. But at that time, I didn't know she was married. Not that it made a difference, because I was married. Then I found out that she was a swinger. So I could see where she was coming from and what she was leading to. It was okay with her. It was okay with her husband. but it wasn't okay with me because I was married. Now, had I pursued that, and believe me, it took every ounce of resistance. You know, the devil was really, really there. It took every ounce to not pursue this. And I probably would not have done it, and I wouldn't have done it even if I wasn't married, because growing up, the street code of Newark, hanging on the avenue, was one, not to mess with somebody's wife and not to mess with somebody's girlfriend. And why would you want to do that anyway? Because you got hundreds of girls out there that are single. You want to mess with somebody's wife and somebody's girlfriend, you're just asking for trouble. So it wouldn't have made a difference whether I was married or not, because it was something that I wouldn't have felt right with. I wouldn't have felt right. Now, there's many swingers out there who, you know, are married or have boyfriends and swing. You know, and it takes a special kind of an individual to do something like that. You know, and when you get into the area of threesomes, first of all, number one is you cannot marry 3 people. That's against anything. That's polygamy. So you can, you know, if I was to, you know, now that I'm a minister, you know, I'm allowed to marry gays and lesbians, but not that I would do that because I said I wouldn't. But you certainly can't marry a threesome. And how would that work out in a relationship? You know, when you have a threesome as a relationship, you know, that leads into problems of the area of maybe jealousy or insecurity, because maybe one partner is paying more attention to the other partner, and then jealousy comes into play there. You know, would you want to share your husband with another woman? Would you want to share your wife with another man? I certainly wouldn't want to, you know. And remember this, that somebody is always going to be more beautiful than you are. Someone is always going to be more handsomer than I am or you are. And the grass is not greener on the other side. You're going to risk a relationship, if you have a good relationship, for, excuse my language, a piece of ass. What's on the other side is crabgrass. So you have to think, you know. These people that do this, and there are swinging clubs, I know a couple who are married, and it has to be consensual between both people to do swinging. And there are clubs, there are private clubs that do this and have swingers where husbands and wives swap each other, you know, and they think nothing of it. They think there's nothing wrong with it. And this is, you know, along the line through the years, I'm sure maybe some of you have fantasized about that. I know I thought about that too, you know, through the years, but it was something that I fantasized about and gave it a thought, and that was about it, never pursuing it, because I personally would not do that. But, you know, there are clubs out there that do that, you know, and people that do that. And like I said, I know a married couple that does that. I don't know how they do it. They seem to have a good relationship between one another, but I don't know, you know. And I don't expect any of you in the parlor to say, oh, you're into swinging. You know, that's something private. You know, you can voice your opinion and say whether you agree with them doing that or not. You know, it's a matter of opinion and beliefs. But my belief is no. No, I think it just leads into problems. And I did some research on Google, and I read some things about it, that it does, in fact, lead to problems. You know, I tell you one thing. I would not want to be in a relationship with 2 other women. Because what happens if I fell in love with 2 women and one of them wants to break up with me and I'm in love with her? You know, going and being with one person alone and having that happen to you is heartbreak enough. You know what I'm saying? You want to have 2 other people? You follow what I'm saying? So I'm just going to read very quickly in the chat, in the parlor, some of your comments to see if I can see what you guys are saying. Oh, Adam, I didn't know that. It was a movie also? I didn't know that. But I remember that song very well. It came out in 1976. Was it Fatal Attraction? Was that the movie Fatal Attraction? I don't remember if I saw that or not. True, Phil. Philip Blunt says it's set up with arrangement and rules. Yeah. I guess you would have to. It would have to work that way. Definitely. And it's usually the men, percentage-wise, that are into that. Right, Teresa Murphy says, I don't share. Teresa. Hi, hon. Don't share, Teresa. I better not. Never mind. Oh, my gosh. You know, it really is, you know, when you're a swinger, it's really for a sexual experience. Swingers are for a sexual experience. It's not for love. When you swing with somebody, it's for sexual. It's not really for love. You know, a threesome relationship, well, then that would involve more of love. You know what I'm saying? But they can never get married. They can live together. You know, they can live together, but they can't get married. You know, listen, like I said, there are people out there that do this. You know, and it takes a special kind of individual to do this, and it has to be consensual, because if one partner doesn't consent to it and you do it, then what are you doing? You're cheating, right? So it has to be consensual. And it really is for sexual, you know, pleasure, fantasy, whatever. And because, like I said, there's no love involved, you know. It's for, excuse my language, a piece of ass. And yeah, Teresa knows a couple that did that and are getting divorced. And I read on the internet, too, that it does end up in a lot of divorces. Why? I don't know. I can't answer that question. Yeah, I agree. I don't think it would work, you know. And you know, like I said, my teacher thought nothing of it. You know, my psychology teacher thought nothing of it. And it was perfect. Like I said, it was perfectly fine with her husband, you know, because he was a swinger too. You know? But that was a long time ago, and you know, that was kind of something that I never expected to happen to me. But I wanted to share that with you. And that's what kind of led me to this topic when I started thinking about it, you know, started thinking about controversial topics. And that's what led me to this topic. But had I pursued it, I would have felt terrible. You know, at that time, I was only married like 2 years. You know, I loved my wife at the time, and that would have been the wrong thing to do. And I have a conscience, so some guys don't have consciences, you know. But there are guys out there that don't care, you know. There are guys out there who don't care, hitting on married women, you know, hitting on guys' girlfriends that don't give it a second thought, you know, that I just don't, you know, I don't agree with it. Like I said, there's so many women out there that are single that you gotta hit on somebody who's married, mess around with somebody's wife, mess around with somebody's girlfriend. You are asking for trouble. And you deserve it. You really do. Phil Abunt said that it's jealousy because they think you like the other one better. That's very true. They did mention that jealousy does come into play. And with jealousy comes insecurity. And then that can hurt the relationship, you know. And the relationship starts to fall apart. So that's a very good comment, Phil. And happens to be you happen to be right. But now, you know, like I said, I'm not going to ask anybody in the parlor if they're into swinging. You know, I don't expect you to answer that anyway. But, you know, it does cross many people's minds. You know, it's not an uncommon thing to think that way, you know, to have those thoughts, you know. Like I say, listen, if you have a good relationship, right? You got a good wife, good girlfriend, good boyfriend, good husband. Why jeopardize it? For a piece of ass? Is it worth it? It really isn't, because then you're going to jeopardize your relationship. And you might end up destroying the relationship. You know? A lot of temptation out there. A lot of temptation, and because I'm single now, I see a lot of things in the bars and in the clubs, and it's crazy out there. It really is, especially now more so that I'm in the older crowd scene. Forget about the kids. Exactly, to each his own. Nancy's asking me how did it end with my professor. Well, I just simply said that, class was almost over. This was in the summertime. I was taking a summer class in King College. And that's all I'll say. And, I said to her, says, listen, I see where you're coming from. And I says, and I know what you do. And I says, and I'm married. And I says, and I can't, there's no possible way that anything is ever going to happen. And she says, I understand. I respect her and I understand. But man, I got to tell you something. She was pretty. She was pretty. And I know the devil was tempting me, boy. The devil was tempting me. And what she ended up giving me? She ended up giving me an A. Yeah, she gave me an A in psychology. Yeah, and that's something you never forget. I'll never forget her. I'll never forget what happened. And I'll never forget the grade she gave me. So that's what happened, Nancy. Yeah, I just couldn't. Listen, I've always been a one-woman. Wait a minute. What's that expression? A one-woman man? A one-woman man or a one-man woman? I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. If I ever was going with somebody and made a commitment on one person, that's it, one person. I make a commitment to that. Will I get married again? I don't think so. Probably not. Who knows? I don't know. But, but I'm dedicated to one person. You don't have to get married. You can make a commitment and then that's it. Years ago, they called that going steady. Remember that expression, going steady? We're going steady. That meant that, your boyfriend or girlfriend and you weren't seeing anybody else, just each other. That's it. They don't, nobody uses that term anymore, but. Adam. Son of a bitch, I only got an A. I should have gotten an A+. Hey, listen, she could have gave me a C. Right? She could have gave me a C. And guess what the C stands for? Never mind. You read my mind. But, well, you're right, Gianni. Never say never. And some people have told me that. They said, Ralph, don't ever say never. Because I was saying, I'm not getting married again. I was married for a long time. I'm not getting married again. You're right. Never say never. You're right. I guess it depends on the circumstances and the person. And, and I agree with you, Gianni. Never say never. But, I've been single for a long time now. So I don't, like I always say, when I go out, I don't go out with the intent to meet somebody. I go out to have a good time. And whatever happens, happens. And I've met, girls. But, that's all I'm going to say. So, in terms of, again, getting back to the topic, threesomes and swingers and swinging, it takes a special individual to do something like that. It really does. And in most cases, in a lot of the cases, and I wouldn't say all of them, but in a lot of cases, they don't usually work out. In terms of the swinging aspect of that, it's more of a sexual thing than a love thing. A threesome could be a love thing, because it is possible to love two people at the same time. It is possible. I wouldn't want that to happen to me, that's for sure. So swinging is just a sexual fantasy that you're fulfilling, and love is not involved in there. It's just, the bottom line is that it's a piece of ass. That's what the bottom line is. Excuse my language. Boss lady, hi, how are you? Thank you for joining me. I hope you're doing well. I don't know if you just came in or if you've been listening to the controversial topic that we're having. I see that everybody's being very respectful in the parlor, and I really appreciate that. Because, like I said, we all have differences of opinions. And, we could always agree to disagree, And my particular opinion I've already given you is that I'm not into threesomes, wouldn't never be, and I'm not into swinging. Or probably would, not probably, but would never be, It says something about your relationship. If you pursue that, is there something missing in your relationship sexually that you have to fantasize and go into swinging? Are you not being fulfilled? Now, I am not a sex therapist. I'm not a psychologist. I did take psychology, but I'm not a professional to really give advice. But I would think that, if you're being satisfied sexually in your relationship, why would you want to go and swing? Right? Or is it just to try something new? A new excitement, a change, Because, again, for the fourth time, swinging is not a love thing. It's a sexual thing. It's a sexual thing. Whereas a threesome is different. That can turn into love. And like I said, that could be a problem. So, smoking a joint. Well, good. That's good, Phil. You're nice and relaxed and you're smoking a joint while you're listening to my show, watching my show. So, guys, Arms, I know. You have to behave, Arms. This is a serious topic. Okay, there's a time and place for everything. And this is not the time and place right now in this segment to misbehave. I just want to make sure that I'm looking to see if anybody's asking me any questions. Good question, Nancy. Did I ever tell my wife that I was approached? No. Never mentioned it. I felt it wasn't necessary because I didn't do anything wrong. So is this something that happened to me? And I probably felt at the time that if I told her that, it might make her think that there may be trust issues of trusting me, or that things out there like that happen to me. So since I didn't pursue it and didn't do anything about it, it wasn't really necessary to tell her. I think that's the way I thought at the time. That was a long time ago. But nothing ever happened, so there really wasn't a need for me to tell her. Why would I tell her anyway? What am I going to tell her? My psychology teacher approached me. She was hitting on me and she was a swinger. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that would light anybody's eyes up, Knowing that I'm going to class, now that I told her that, I'm going to class. Even if I told her afterwards, no, it was better that I didn't mention it because nothing happened, Like I said, if I would have felt terribly guilty because I have a conscience, And I was younger at the time, and I was only married a couple of years, and I certainly wasn't going to blow my marriage, that's for sure. But that was a good question. That was a very good question, Nancy. So I'm just quickly reading. Johnny, I'm not getting, I have to get into some shenanigans. Let me tell you something. Going out, there's a lot of shenanigans. Let me tell you something. Philip Blunt is saying swinging can help with a relationship on the rocks because you might realize what you have. I don't know about that, Phil. I don't agree with you on that. I have to say I don't agree with you, but that's your opinion. If your relationship's on the rocks, it's better for you to talk about it with your partner than to go out and have an affair. You know, I think that's the last thing you want to do. Again, I am not a psychologist. I am not a sex therapist. But me personally, that's nothing. If my relationship was on the rocks, I'm not going to go out and have an affair to realize what I have. You know, I don't agree. But again, we're all different individuals. You know, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just voicing my opinion. Well, Phil, yes, arrangements are better than cheating. I mean, it has to be, you have to have a mutual agreement to do these things. You can't do it, you know, both partners have to agree with this, because if only one partner does this and the other partner doesn't agree with it, then you're cheating. You're being, you know, disloyal. It's just downright cheating, you know. So both parties have to agree on this if they're gonna be swinging and become swingers and join these clubs, or you don't even have to join a club. You know, you don't have to, but there are private clubs for this. There are. Dr. Ruth. Yeah, whatever happened to Dr. Ruth? I'm not a Dr. Ruth and Ralph. I just want to make sure that I said hello to everybody and make sure that if anybody's asking me any questions, that I can answer them. Gerard, do you really think I'm in the island? It's not a full moon. It's not a trick background. It's a background. It's a backdrop. It's from... Did you really think I was in the islands? It's a beautiful background. Beautiful back with the moon and the trees blowing. Look at the trees are blowing real nice. Look. And the water's, it's very peaceful. There's no trickery here. You can't do this you can't do this effectively on StreamYard. You can only do it on OBS, the Open Broadcast Systems. Trick background. Gerard, let me tell you something. You say it's not a full moon where you are, but in other places in the world, there is a full moon. The full moon doesn't have to be where you are. It could be a quarter moon where you are, or a half moon, and then somewhere else in the world, it could be a full moon. You know, the way the Earth rotates. The things that you people pick up on are unbelievable. Do I have any nose hairs? Okay, Teresa, you said that to me. All right, I answered your question. I answered Nancy's question about my professor. And Adam with the A+. You're right, Adam. I should have got that A+. Damn it. Oh, boss lady, that's okay. You come in whenever you have a chance. You know. Nancy's question about Mrs. Mucci. Okay. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Okay, Evan, that's very interesting. Okay, I want to read what Evan said. That's very interesting. Your wife is bisexual. She is attracted to women, has dated before, doesn't bother you. It's one reason why you love her, I think that says. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, that's your wife's preference, and if you're fine with that, Evan, that's great. You know, I mean, you know, more power to you. More power to you. I mean, I'm not gonna. I mean, that's your wife's preference, and I'm not going to say that's right or wrong. It's you know, your preference. I'm not going to criticize. You know, God bless you, you and your wife. If it works out, it works out. All right, Evan, I don't know. Evan is saying that sometimes swinging can strengthen a relationship. The key to its communication. We have considered having a poly relationship. You know, I'm not an expert to really say. What I would do in that particular case is, me personally, you're saying that swinging can help a relationship. Well, swinging is a sexual thing. It's not a love thing. Okay, let's establish that right off the bat. So is there something missing in your sexual relationship that you'd want to swing? How would it help your relationship? So something along the line there is not working. You know what I'm saying? If you're having if you want to swing because you're saying it'll help your relationship, well, that's sexual, because again, swinging is a sexual thing, not a love thing. So you have to look and see what's missing in your sexual relationship. Yeah, I feel like Dr. Ruth here. I mean, that's the way I would look at it. I mean, who's to say that I'm right or wrong, but that's the way that I would look at it. I would sit down and talk to my wife or my girlfriend, whatever, and talk it out. But I would see that as a fantasy, you know. But that's me. Evan, that's great. Never go to bed bad. Never go to bed mad. You're right. I agree with you 100%. And you have a great relationship with your wife. That's great. That's great. That's a good thing. And communication is very, very important. You know, talking things out is very, very important. And you should never go to bed bad. Wait, I'm stuttering on my words. You should never go to bed mad. I agree with you. Wait, Johnny. I'm not a sex therapist, but Minka, it's some great therapy. What are you talking about? Are you talking about me, Gianni? I'm going to charge all you guys for all this information. You're going to get my bill. Arms. Oh my God, you guys are funny. Arms is saying the only swinging I do is from my feet to my back pain. Oh my God. All right. Emmanuel, how are you? Thank you for joining us. Well, you know, I don't have any that, Evan, I don't have anything to hide. I mean, it was an incident that happened to me years ago, and I mean, there's nothing for me to be ashamed about. I mean, my friends know about it. I mean, I've talked about it through the years, you know, with other people. I mean, so I'm talking about it with you. So it's no big deal. I mean, you know, that's what really sparked me for this topic. when I was thinking to myself, I'm going to, the controversial topic that I had, was it last week? What was it? What the hell was the topic about? I forgot what the topic was about. Anyway, I don't remember. You remember. But I started to think, maybe I should have some controversial topics. And then I started thinking, I said, wait, something happened to me years ago. I could talk about swinging, threesomes, and swinging. So that's what led me to this topic. But I mean, I've spoken about it, through the years with my friends and everything. And they always ask me, well, what'd you do, Ralph? What'd you do? Oh, you're stupid. Are you kidding me? No, I'm not kidding you. You know how guys are. Listen, this is the way I think. All right, not saying that everybody thinks this way, but listen, if you got somebody, all right, a woman or man, whether you're dating or whether you're married, if you got somebody that treats you good, that understands you, that you can talk to, that listens to you, that is fun to be with, that enjoys and shares some of the things that you like, because you're not going to like everything that each other does. Why risk your relationship, again, for a piece of ass? Because that's exactly what it is. And excuse my language. That's exactly what it is. To get laid. Bottom line. Excuse my language. You're going to risk your relationship just for a piece of ass to get laid. Is it worth it? And what happens if she finds out, your wife finds out, or your husband finds out, or your boyfriend finds out, or your girlfriend finds out? In a relationship, trust is very hard to get back once you lose it. It's very hard. It can be done, but it's very hard. You don't want to mistrust your partner. I mean, that's the way I look at it. Me. It comes with experience. I mean, again, I see so many things out there because I'm single. I when I go out to the bars, when I go out to the clubs, especially the clubs, I know who's married that's in the club. I see the guys hitting on the women who are married, who are not there with their husbands and out there with their girlfriends to have a good time. Should they really be there without their husbands? Not really. Not really. Not in a club. Not when you got a bunch of jerks, guys out there. I told you, I talked about this not too long ago, is that I was at a bar, and a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, woman, who was very beautiful. She was with her husband, and I'm a friend of her husband's, and her husband said to me, Ralph, do me a favor, sit down next to my wife. I got to go to the bathroom. So I said, sure. So I sat down next to her and I was talking to her. The reason why he did that was because if I didn't sit down next to her and there was an empty seat, when he went off to the bathroom, at least 3 guys would have came up to her and hit on her. And then there would have been a problem, because he's kind of a hothead. So what he was doing was trying to prevent a problem. I was a friend of his, and I sat down next to his wife. And the one that pissed, he didn't come out of the bathroom right away. After he came out of the bathroom, he went somewhere else in the bar, in the club, and was talking to some of his friends that he knew. So I'm sitting at the bar with his wife. I mean, we're good friends and everything, but still, I wanted to get up and move around. So, it's not really a good idea, even if girls go out to a club or a bar, together, and they're married or they have boyfriends. It's problems, because there's a lot of jerks out there. No, Phil, it's not worth it being a cheater. Nancy, I agree with you. Once trust is broken, it's very, very hard to get back. You know, very, very hard. You know, you don't want to lie. You know, you want to be honest and upfront. Yeah, I mean, that's the way that I look at it. I mean, not everybody's like me, you know. Not everybody's like me. Austin Powers was a swinger? I didn't know that. So that's it on my topic of threesomes and swingers and swinging. You've all respected one another, and I really appreciate that. Very nice people in the parlor. But I didn't expect anything. I didn't really expect anything to happen. Yeah. Not you guys, anyway. So what we're going to do right now is, hold on a second. Let me see something real quick here. Just give me 1 second. Alrighty. We're going to change things right now. We're going to go over to the studio. All right. Music time. I'm going to play some songs. A few songs. Time for a little reminiscing. A little reminiscing back to the 70s. And some good music. Just a couple songs. Some of these songs may bring back some memories to you. Some of them may not. Most likely they will, though.
People talking about the girl who's
Okay. Let me start over. Forgot to turn the microphone. As always, I always forget to turn the microphone on. But I was saying it was a good show tonight. Good show, good topic. You're all great in the parlor. You all gave a lot of great comments. Let me see. Am I still on mute? No, I'm not on mute now. You can hear me. I was on mute. I always do that. I always forget to turn the mic on when I use OBS. No, I shouldn't be on mute now. I should be good. You guys should be hearing me. Yeah. I always do that. Every single show when I use OBS, I always forget to turn the mic on. And thank you, Gianni, for reminding me. All those red flags helped this time for me to turn it on really quickly. Anyway, what I was going to say was I hope you enjoyed the show. You were all great listeners tonight. You all gave great comments. You were all respectful. I really appreciate that. And I hope you enjoyed the show. Anthony, you're right. It wouldn't be the Wise Up Show unless one portion of the show was muted. You notice that doesn't happen on the car lights because I'm using StreamYard. But when I use OBS, I have to turn the microphone off when I play the songs. I always forget to turn it back on. But thankfully, Gianni helped me out very quickly with all those red... What is it that he... What are they? Red faces. Hey, listen. Let me tell you something, Nancy. All right. I'm a straightforward person. I don't sugarcoat anything. All right? That's my personality. Either you like my personality or you don't like my personality. Sometimes I'm tactful and sometimes I'm not. But if somebody's going to make a wisecrack, you know, I'm going to respond to it. That's just me. And if I lose a listener, so be it. What could I tell you? But I'm not changing for anybody. You know, that remark was unnecessary. It really was. You know, and I'm going to respond to it. You know, I'm going to respond to it. I'm not going to let it go. I don't let things go. You know, I just, that's not me. So if I lose a listener and he was offended, what could I tell you? Listen, I've lost a couple listeners because of personality differences. What could I tell you? You know, you win some and you lose some. You know, like Tommy Stigg said today on his short. You know, he wanted feedback from content creators when he was saying, how do you feel when you lose listeners or gain listeners? Well, you know, you win some and you lose some. You're gonna gain listeners and you're gonna lose listeners for many reasons. It may not have anything to do with your show format, but if you start losing a large amount of listeners, then it's time to reevaluate your format and look and see, you know, what you're doing that you're losing your listeners. You know, so I gave him that feedback. You know, the appreciation that you get from your listeners is your listeners, your dedicated listeners coming into your show and socializing and you know, communicating with one another and communicating with the host. That's the appreciation that you get from your listeners. And I told him that the second appreciation, which is not a priority for listeners, is the donations, is the cash apps or the Venmos, which is not a listener priority. I mean, it is actually their channel that they're enjoying, you know, and it's, you know, not everybody is generous and you can't expect that. But that's another form of listener appreciation, which is really second on the list. The most important thing is what I told Tommy, and what I believe in is if you're having fun and you're enjoying what you're doing and you enjoy your listeners and you're communicating with them, that's it in a nutshell. But, you know, if I'm, you know, everybody has a different personality. Every show host has a different personality. Some show hosts let things ride over their head. Some people don't respond to remarks, to, you know, sarcastic remarks. You know, everybody's different. I'm not like that. You know, I not to be a hard ass or a bad ass or anything like that. I just don't do that. You know, and like I always say, you know, you're not going to be liked by everybody. It would be a wonderful thing if we could be liked by everybody. But there's always going to be people that are not going to like you for many number of reasons. You know, that's just the way it is. You know, I treat everybody with respect. I expect to have respect in return. Now, if I treated you nasty, then you have a right to be negative or nasty toward me because I didn't respect you. But if you want to make a wisecrack, you know, and be sarcastic, I'm not going to let it ride. It's just not my personality. And if people don't like it, what can I say? You know, that's just me, and I'm not changing for anybody. So, I'll check it, Nancy. I don't know. I did it very quickly. My Brett Hunter, how are you? Nice for you to join us. I'm ending the show. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, listen, guys, I think you know a little bit about my personality now. You know, I've gotten into some confrontations with some of the listeners, and they don't listen to my show anymore. And you know what? I don't care. I don't care. I don't need them. I don't need the aggravation. You know, one listener got nasty on a show with me, and, you know, I gave it right back to that person. You know, I don't put up with that nonsense. I don't put up with that nonsense on the street. I'm going to put up with it on YouTube? No, I'm not going to do that. It's just not me. It's not me. Like I said, some people will let it ride, pay no attention to it, and, you know, and they say, oh, it doesn't bother me, it doesn't bother me. Well, listen, that ain't me. Everybody's different. Everybody's different. You know, just last week, somebody made a remark that was uncalled for, you know, toward me, and I didn't like it, you know, because it was totally uncalled for, because it was a serious situation and it was uncalled for, and you know, I don't care. I just don't care. You know, I don't know. I don't know if he, you know, that's one of the problems. You know, if he was joking, he was joking, Adam. I don't know. You know, it's hard to read the chat. It's hard to, not that it's hard to read the chat or the parlor. It's hard to make sense of a text because it's a text. I really don't care for texting. You know, I don't know if he was serious or not, but if he wasn't serious, then I apologize for making that remark. Saying, look, listen, the bottom line is, if you don't like it, you don't have to listen. Nobody is forcing you to go into any shows and listen to any of their shows. Nobody's twisting your arm and saying that you have to go to this show, you have to listen to this show, you have to listen to that show. You do what you want. You know, nobody's twisting your arm. You're right. And you know what, my brat, you cannot please everybody. I know that. I know that. You know, I do this because for me, it's fun. Some people enjoy it. You know, others may not. You know, some people may like my personality. Some people may not like my personality. You know, again, you can't be liked by everybody. And you can't please everybody. You're right. You can't. You can't. And don't even try to. Don't even try to. Don't ever, you know, my father said something to me many years ago. He said to me, Ralph, he called me Ralphie. Ralphie, you're not going to be liked by everybody in life. So the people that don't like you, don't try to kiss their ass to make them like you. Walk away from them because they're not worth it. And I've always listened to what my father said, and he's right. You know, you're not going to be liked by everybody in life for many number of reasons that they don't like you. Who cares? I'll tell you one thing, I'll never get an ulcer. That's for sure. You know. And it has a lot to do with my upbringing. You know, my upbringing and where I grew up. And that, you know, and I always talk about this, that we're no nonsense kind of guys. We're no nonsense kind of people. We don't put up with any nonsense. You know, that's just the way we are. That comes from my upbringing. You know, and I do this off of YouTube as well. You know, I'm the same way. I'm no different on YouTube than I am off of YouTube. Because then I would be a phony. And I'm not a phony. You know, this is my personality. You know, and I'm honest and upfront. You know. So, I mean, it is what it is. Wait a minute, hold on a second. You know what? Gina, you're right. Mike F. is a very decent guy. Mike F. is a very nice guy. He sends me a lot of pictures, a lot of photos. He's always said some nice things, and I thought he was serious. He could have been fooling around, and I may have taken that the wrong way. And if I did, I apologize to you, Mike. I have no problem, you know, if I'm wrong, I have no problem, you know, saying that I was wrong and apologizing. So if that was the case and you were kidding around, then I apologize, and there's no offense taken. And, you know, that's the way I am. So if you weren't serious. Yes, Mike F. is. And I said, Mike F. sent me a ton of pictures. I'm very surprised. Mike F., I don't know, maybe he struck a chord, but he sends a lot of great pictures, and he sent me a lot of great videos today, yesterday. And I thought, you know, I thought he was serious. So listen, I make mistakes too. And when I make a mistake, I own up to them. You know, and if I'm wrong, I say, I'm sorry, and I apologize. You know, and then case closed. But, you know, some people find it hard to apologize. Some people find it hard to admit that they're wrong. You know, they can't admit that they're wrong. And by apologizing, they're admitting they're wrong. But I don't have that problem, you know. So, Lucy Warner's World, how are you? Thank you for joining me. But I'm ending the show, Lucy. but you could always come back. I am not Johnny, I am not a fan of text. I do not like text. You cannot read the person's facial expressions. You cannot hear their voice tone. It just causes a lot of problems. As you could see right here. Right here. It was a problem, you know. And JJ Fedora, how are you? And what are you asking me? When are you going to pop me, Ralphie, from Newark? Interested parties want to know. Turn it up some. I'm not going to pop anyone. I never popped a woman in my life, and I never will. That's the worst thing I could do. That's the worst thing a guy can do is hit a woman. That's pretty low. That's pretty cowardly. I mean, you know, no matter how mad the woman can make you, the best thing to do in that case is to walk away. But hitting a woman, no, that's not good. That's not good. Lucy, I got to ask you a question. I've never seen you in my show before. Thank you for coming in and stopping in. I don't know how you found me. You can let me know if you'd like how you found me. I always like to ask people that are new to know how they found me. Here we go. We are back. We are back. We are back on the island. No, JJ hasn't been in my show for a while for a number of reasons, and she's asking me if I'm going to pop her. No, JJ, I never hit a woman in my life. Never. Would never do that. Arms, I never met your sister. No, I didn't even know you had a sister. And how would I meet your sister? And why would I meet your sister? But, yeah, again, Mike F., if you're listening, I apologize. I don't know if you were serious or if you're kidding around, but you are one of the dedicated listeners that I have. And, you know, if I offended you, I apologize on live, you know, and like, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I apologize, you know. Gilligan Moochie. Yeah, you know, it's funny because I was looking for some really nice backdrops, and I came across this one, which is really nice. And there is actually music that comes with this. You know, it's very, very peaceful. Like if you can't fall asleep at night, there's a lot of videos on YouTube with that will help you fall asleep. Well, I don't know if they'll help everybody to fall asleep, but I know that sometimes if I can't fall asleep, I'll listen to some of them. There'll be like thunderstorms with the rain and scenes like this with the you know, the water, the sound of the water and the ocean and everything. Very peaceful and calm, very relaxing. So if you have a problem sleeping, and again, that's, you know, that may not help everybody, but I know it's helped me. So I mean, YouTube has a lot of these help sleeping videos, you know. But I was looking for some nice backdrops, and this one really was nice, and it has nice, you know, the wind blowing very gently and the sound of the water. Mike, listen, Mike, everything is good. You can, you know, it's funny, Michael. Listen, Mike, you're a good listener. I like you. You send me a lot of, and I always mentioned this, you send me a lot of great pictures and videos. I just read the text wrong. I thought you were serious. And again, I don't think you were serious. And again, for the fourth time, I apologize if I offended you. You're a great guy and a great listener. And like I said, Mike, if I'm wrong, you know, I own up to being wrong, and I apologize. You know, so don't take any offense to it. Please continue to be a listener. You're a good guy, and you're one of the dedicated listeners that I have. And there's always going to be a misunderstanding, you know. And the thing is, the most important thing is to talk about the misunderstanding and work it out, and then resolve it, rather than hold grudges, which I don't like to do, you know. And again, I don't have any problem in, you know, apologizing if I'm wrong, you know. Yeah. So I'm going to wrap this up. And I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. We talked about a lot of things, and you know, I enjoy doing the Sunday night show more than I do the car lives. As you can see, that the Sunday night show is much different than the car lives. I do the car lives basically for my listeners, and I always say this: I'm really not crazy about them, but I got into it, and you know, Sunday night show is my show, and you know, I'm happy to be back to do it, you know, on a regular basis. You know, it gives me a chance to be somewhat creative. It is a little bit of work, but it's fun work. It's fun work to put a Sunday night show together, you know, because I've been doing it for a long time, all these things, and it's, again, it is somewhat work, but it's fun work. It's totally different. So I really like the Sunday night shows, you know, and I enjoy everybody coming in. And I have been going on some other shows, you know, and venturing out, you know, into other communities. Not many. I'm out of the loop about a lot of things, you know. Some of the shows that I go into, that they're talking about things that I don't know what they're talking about, because I'm out of the loop, because a lot of my listeners who listen to my show here are on their show, so then they know more what's going on than I do. But you know, it is what it is. Yeah, there's a lot of white caps in the background. Isn't that nice? OBS does a really, really nice job of green screening. This is green screening. StreamYard does it, but you need other things. StreamYard is not as effective as OBS is. As you can see, with me, there's no halo, there's no fuzziness, there's nothing. I mean, you need to get into it technically, which I really don't want to. You need studio lighting, because I have studio lighting on me. You need an actual green screen, and OBS gives you the ability to have a continuous running background where StreamYard doesn't. There's a lot of restrictions with StreamYard. They have green screening, but it's not that good. To do StreamYard and green screening effectively, you would need studio lighting and a green screen. The green screen in the background add a nice touch. Because of course you could see that in a moment's notice. In a moment's notice, I can do this, or what else, or this, So there's so many things that you could do on OBS that you can't do on StreamYard, but you have to know how to do it. And again, I've been doing this for a long time, so you gotta remember, I did podcasting 19 years ago, when podcasting was in its infancy. All these content creators that you listen to, they weren't even around. They didn't know anything about maybe they did know about podcasting, but they didn't do it. So, 2004 was when I had my podcasting show, and YouTube, and I mentioned this before, YouTube wasn't even invented yet. YouTube didn't come into existence until it was released Valentine's Day 2005. And at that time when I was doing podcasting, it was only audio. It wasn't video. And you had to do your show and upload it to iTunes. iTunes was the main platform to upload your podcast to. And there were other platforms too. But so I've been doing this for a long time. So a lot of content creators don't do this. Some do, but not a lot of them, But, that doesn't make me any better than anybody else. It's just something that I've been doing for a long time and know how to do, And it's fun because it gives me a chance to be creative. It gives me, and to make the show enjoyable for my listeners. At least I think so, So, Payne Mike Bain, how are you, Payne? I'm ending the show. You're the king of the swingers. Okay. Marbrat, thank you. Have a great night, Marbrat. Thank you for coming in. All right, guys. Hat crew, good night. All right, guys. I'm going to end this. Thank you all for joining me. It was a pleasure. Good show. And I'll see you tomorrow on My Car Life. Everybody have a great evening. And stay well. Good night, everybody. Thank you for joining me.